Newsflash, Romeo, OpenAI just got into so much trouble. Yeah, down with the naked king, I say. We might be this close to popping a darn bubble. But I might be getting ahead of myself. Here's what happened. Welcome to What the Web. What is OpenAI synonymous with? Success? Progress? Or maybe AI psychosis? Burning through $14 billion in a single year, making unregulated tech in a haphazard way. Let me add one more association. Losing trust of key partners due to severe mismanagement and underperformance. The unfolding of relationships between OpenAI and Microsoft, a key partner which owns a 32% stake, by the way, already 27% stake as I see, is going catastrophically poorly. Wow, no shit. All right, look here. The Financial Times interview with Microsoft's head of AI, Mustafa Suleyman, has shed light on this multi-billion-dollar drama. Firstly, he said, "My personal mission at Microsoft is to build superintelligence," which is great, and I hope it finally will fix issues with Windows, although that's a big hope. He also said a critically important thing, and I quote here, "We have to develop our own foundation models, which are at the absolute frontier with gigawatt-scale compute and some of the very best AI training teams in the world. This is our true self-sufficiency mission." Sounds formulaic, maybe at first even insignificant, but dig this, okay? OpenAI and Microsoft, they're like bestie boys. They've been very close ever since the 2023 deal. Microsoft backing OpenAI up like it's some Agnus Dei, buying a 32% stake, investing billions, using OpenAI tech to power their Copilot project. The entire catalog of OpenAI models was hosted on Microsoft's infrastructure, and Microsoft also got first priority pass and access to new tech. It sounds and looks like a partnership made in heaven. But according to these quotes from the interview, it ain't so sugary no more. What Mr. Suleiman is saying is basically basta. Sam Altman was demoted from a partner to a situationship. Microsoft will no longer rely on OpenAI for achieving their AI goals, no matter how evil or janky. You might think it was a one-day breakup. It wasn't. In August 2025, Microsoft announced that they are in fact building their Frontier model trained on 15,000 NVIDIA H100 GPUs. That's large. This was the first concrete evidence of Microsoft building OpenAI alternatives. Now, they should have seen it coming. In October 2025, that sweet 23 deal got completely restructured, with OpenAI being put in a position of a lose-maxing orbiter. Sam Altman got locked into a $250 billion Azure commitment through 2032. That's lots of numbers, though he technically now could raise outside capital and be more of a free guy, but still he needed Microsoft more than Microsoft needed him. It was basically a light breakup version. You know, they're still on speaking terms, but, merely taking a little pause. What we see now, though, is Microsoft going to club fishing, dare I say going solo in their AI endeavors. Skipping showers and switching socks, sleeping good and long. But what happened, Bratambo? What did Sam Altman do to deserve any of this? Well, firstly, have you used ChatGPT 5.2? It's just dry, silly, and underdeveloped, just like most of the products coming out of OpenAI lately, except maybe for Sora 2. The Atlas browser, it's trash. Pulse? Who the hell uses Pulse? Complete trash. Rolling out ads in AI? Wrong move, bro. Trash. What do you think about ChatGPT's latest features? Drop me your opinion in the comments. I read every one of them. It would warm my heart very good, but thanks. Rolling with trash moves that actually cost you money won't do you any favors reputationally. Moreover, OpenAI has been incredibly reckless with commitments and promises and deals, planning on trillions of unbacked dollars. And the market has finally caught up with that. What can I say? I quote, Oracle has been the lightning rod for OpenAI's related fears, with its shares stumbling roughly 40% from late October highs as concerns mount over debt-financed AI data centers and heavy exposure to OpenAI workloads. Companies like Oracle and Microsoft are paying a huge price for OpenAI's impudence. Maybe Oracle stock got way ahead of fundamentals, and now the market is saying, all right, show me. Eric Dighton of Wealth Alliance told Bloomberg, capturing the new skepticism around the AI buildout. Big corpos lost money. Great. I love it when it happens. But what's even greater is that maybe it's a sign of society finally waking up to recognize the fire that is rampaging through their room. Even more probable, it's only the beginning of the market finally choosing sobriety, choosing life, instead of endlessly chasing the highs of the AI boom. Society and AI should coexist, making each other better. But it only works if there is no hyperfixation, no obsession, and no pampering of value. And excuse me, but Sam Altman looks just like the beneficiary of hyperfixation, obsession, and pampering of value.
That's correct.
Now, from here, where do we go? All right, time for some what the web prognosis, my favorite part. Scenario 1, OpenAI wins, survives, and prospers. This scenario will work out if OpenAI secures a new $100 billion of funding at acceptable terms, if it achieves profitability by 2027 as promised, if the IPO succeeds at $1 trillion valuation, if it maintains technical lead over competitors, and most importantly, if I'm just blatantly wrong in front of my 1,000 subs. As they say in Russian, мечтать не вредно. Call me a hater all you want, but with Anthropic being cooler and cooler each day, with Chinese models gaining steam, and with Sam Altman's reputation as a hype hog and as a воздухан, and his reputation is not getting any better, this outcome feels like a long, distant cry. Scenario 2, OpenAI collapses to smithereens, total liquidation. This will happen if OpenAI fails to raise a new $100 billion investment at acceptable valuation, if cash runs out mid-2027, if forced to sell to Microsoft or go bankrupt, and if Microsoft acquires the IP and talent of OpenAI for absolute pennies after the liquidation. Total dissolution is probable, although I do see some blockers along the way. I think in our world there is still such a thing as too big to fail. The fact is, OpenAI ushered in this controversial era of AI, and its termination would demoralize the market too much. Nobody would allow it. Keeping something alive forcefully to ensure the survival of the group is a sad practice, but nevertheless a very human practice. Some dictators continued their rule years after their physical demise. Scenario number 3, OpenAI becomes the new Nokia. This happens if OpenAI raises enough money to avoid bankruptcy, but at the same time never reaches the profitability. OpenAI, in terms of this scenario, will become dependent on continuous fundraising, and it will slowly lose market share to Anthropic, Google, Microsoft, and Chinese companies. It will be eventually acquired at a discount or wound down or just massively restructured. This scenario is the official What the Web prognosis for this episode. It just seems too likely. It just seems so logical. You know, many businesses kind of went down the same path. Riding a high horse, acting all Napoleon, looking down on everybody, and then your competition catches up to you, rip you apart, piece by piece. Just something like that happened to Nokia. Congrats, you have reached the Nokia ending, is what I will say, in a short time. Because I'm sure of that, boy. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyways, that's the news. Thank you for making it all the way to the very ending. I really appreciate your viewership. Write down in the comments what you think will become of OpenAI. Maybe you disagree with the chosen prognosis of this episode. Apart from that, leave likes and subscribe. You know, every like and subscribe helps. And I'm going to see you in the next one, King. Bye.